Herein is what we're going home on Raw, big boy. I timed this because at first I was watching it and I said, wait a minute, I've lost track of what's supposed to be going on here. And then I had to back up and make notes. Okay, at 10:15 Eastern time on Raw, Liv Morgan makes her entrance into the arena and is introduced by the ring announcer for her match, right? From 10:15 to 10:16.
Okay.
That's what happens. Then they go to the break. She's on her way to the ring. That's 3 minutes. They come back from the break, and they show a package on Titus O'Neil at the Indy 500, and they recap what Theory did earlier in the night and the match being added to the pay-per-view. Then they go to a backstage promo from Mustafa Ali where he says a couple of things and he's jumped from behind by Theory and has the shit kicked out of him again. And Theory takes a selfie with him. And then they go back to the announce desk where the announcers sell the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view matches. And then we go back to the ring where we see Liv Morgan standing in the ring and Rhea Ripley's music starts. It's now 10:25 Eastern. Liv has been standing in the ring for 10 minutes. But here comes Ripley. But guess what, Brian? Ripley's on the way to the ring. We go to a break. We come back. And we have the Money in the Bank spot where they say that it will now be held in the intimate confines of the MGM Grand Arena.
Is that how they put it?
Intimate confines is a quote. Yeah, the intimate confines of the MGM Grand where you can shoot deer in the balcony if it's a bad house. Then they do an announcer stand-up and promo about it being Memorial Day, and they pitch to a Memorial Day package on the military and service people and etc., and come back to the crowd who's now chanting USA, USA. And the bell rings to start the match. Guess what time?
Now, what time did you say Liv Morgan came out? Was it 10:15?
Liv Morgan's music started playing and she made her entrance into the arena at 10:15.
What time did the actual match start?
The bell rang to start the match at 10:34.
Wow! Oh my God!
19 minutes!
That's incredible.
19 minutes after the entrance. And by the way, now we get to the match. So let's just examine this. 19 minutes to get them there. And they had a big girl, little girl. I always say big man, little man match. Well, it's a big girl, little girl match. If this was 1930s Hollywood, Rhea Ripley would be Joan Crawford and Liv Morgan would be Zazu Pitts. And Dale Spear will be the one human being in the world laughing right now. They've been fighting every week. Liv Morgan does not grow on me. She's too girly to be a wrestler. Rhea Ripley has to not only bend over backward, but has to do the limbo to make it believable that Liv Morgan is hanging in there with her, right? So they go to 3 minutes they do 3 minutes of match. And then they go to another break, and they're a break for 3 minutes. So when they come back, AJ Styles and Damian Priest are at ringside for their respective girls. And Rhea Ripley's getting some heat on Liv. There wasn't a lot of action because what's she going to do? She's holding her in a hold because what's she going to do? Every time Liv Morgan tries to fire up, it's awkward. And how many different ways can Rhea Ripley beat up this tiny little girl? The best thing about Liv's comeback was Rhea Ripley taking a hell of a bump through the buckles into the post and to the floor. But finally, Priest interfered and AJ attacked him. And Ripley got distracted. And Morgan did a roll-up. They did a do-si-do and a roll-up. And the referee goes down for the count. 1, 2, and holds up the 3. There was no kick out. The bell rang. Liv Morgan rolled up and raised her hands. The fans cheered. And I guess that was it. So the finish was Liv Morgan winning on a 2 count because the referee got flummoxed and it was one of the female referees. She couldn't. I guess she didn't think that was the finish. I don't know what the fuck happened. But they just went on with it. So they couldn't have had a better camera shot of a 2 count if they'd have tried, if it had been written into the show. So what we had, that match ended, by the way. Oh, and then Priest beat up AJ, and then Finn Balor came out and beat up Priest, but then Liv Morgan beat up Ripley, but then AJ and Finn beat up Priest because they're having a 6-person tag at the pay-per-view. So that whole thing was over with at 10:45. A 30-minute segment, 30 minutes from the time that Liv Morgan's entrance started till the time that this fight was over with, was 8 minutes of match, 9 minutes of commercials, and 13 minutes of other stuff. Can't wait for that 6-person tag at the pay-per-view we're not going to pay for.
Sounds
Did
terrible.
you see any of that?
I did not see any of that. I tapped out after Cody and Seth.